Howdy, friends and floorheads. My God, no more waiting 5 or 6 weeks between sessions. This is unacceptable. For those of you that are watching and binge watching it, we have been waiting way too long to come back. Is it murder when you're possessed, when you killed them? This and many lingering questions are hanging out there. We're back for episode 6 of Echoes of Blood using the Shiver and Shiver Gothic RPG by Parable Games. If you missed the first 5 episodes, catch them out. You can catch them on our Shiver Gothic YouTube playlist. As you can see, our doom clock is now 1/4 past. And when it went to the 1/4 past spot, it triggered the murder of Susanna Price, which is Mr. Lusk's wife, at the hands of Lady Randolph Churchill. So where are we and how did we get here? It's October 31st, 1888 in England. Our 4 characters are attending a getaway at the country estate of Lord and Lady Randolph Churchill in Hampshire by New Forest. In the wake of this gruesome murder, Harry is trying to get control of the scene and sort out what the hell just happened. Elizabetta is about to join him. Dr. Charlotte is headed down to her new makeshift lab in the basement. Why has Sir Percival Blackwood called for Lady Rosalind? Lusk left his dead wife to find Chief Inspector Frederick Aberline. What is Aberline going to do? The staff whisked away Lady Jeannie Randolph Churchill. What will happen to her? And is she a murderer? We're going to find that out after the opening titles. We'll be right back. Attention, brave viewers. This video features adults immersed in a spine-chilling horror RPG experience. The content likely includes supernatural elements, horror-related events, and potentially scenes of violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy. Harry, there's blood everywhere. This was what Jeannie Churchill did was gruesome. We learned from Dr. Charlotte that these wounds are identical to one of the Whitechapel murders, both in method and location and patterns. The sheets are soaked. You can just smell that alkaline blood smell. The shattered glass, where apparently Jeannie Churchill came into the room and smashed her head into the glass, taking one of those shards to do this deed. Lord Randolph, he's there with you, but I don't know how much help he is right now. He's been barking orders and just seems very disoriented, and quickly had his wife shoot out of the room, who she seems to be in some sort of catatonic state. You hear the door open and Elizabetta walks in.
Harry?
Yes. Hello. And he looks like he's a little bit at a loss for words. He just kind of gestures at the scene of the crime and then sort of takes a moment and says, my lord, perhaps you should see to your wife. I don't believe there's anything more you can do here at the moment.
And his head is just constantly like shaking, like he keeps saying no to himself, right? Mm-hmm. He's discombobulated. Yes, but if you see Aberline, send him to me immediately. I'll be in our room.
Very good, sir.
And Harry, I'm glad you're here.
And because this is a time when men can't show things, I just kind of put a hand on his shoulder and squeeze. And I say, we'll get through this.
So he almost floats out of the room, leaving you and Elisabetta alone.
I walk up to Harry. I look at the scene, and I slip my hand into Harry's hand.
But and he kind of does that. He just sort of straightens up and doesn't look at you, and
I just
sort of his mouth.
Hand. I squeeze your hand and I look at you and say, "What do we do next?"
And Harry's mouth moves for a couple seconds without any noise coming out, and then he says, "Well, I don't think we want to disturb the scene. Dr. Charlotte's already come in and had a look at the body, so I think we know what's going on from a medical standpoint. But I feel as though you and I know that this is all connected with the amulet and the spirit and everything else that's going on." And I'll kind of recap what I know of, like, she smashed her head in there, she grabbed a piece of the mirror, she attacked and killed the victim. So I guess the real question is this enough to satisfy this spirit for the moment, or is it going to keep getting worse? And I don't have any way of knowing that. Maybe you do.
Well, I don't know, perhaps. And I reach out my hand to just, kind of very tentatively, because I haven't seen something this gruesome before. Just very carefully reach out and to touch the foot of Susanna, just to see, like, perhaps it left something or an imprint. Perhaps it's still. I don't think it's still here, but Susanna.
So you're trying to reach out to Susanna Price, the recently deceased? I'm
trying to sense if kind of opening myself, seeing if there's anything to sense, if it's still here, if I can sense any imprint, if Susanna's perhaps still here, if somebody else.
Go ahead and give me a strange roll if you don't mind. Oh, nice. Too strange. All right. You can see the crumbs of Susanna Price. You can feel that she has crossed over, and it was quick. I think your first success gives you a sense of peace. She is not anchored here. For that second success, though, let's have you faint.
Okay.
Oh, bloody hell.
And Harry, I think you'd catch her. She was right there.
Sure. Try and put her in a chair or something, not so bloodstained.
And I'm going to take you, Elisabetta, to a very small row house in London. And you don't know why you know this, but you're in London. And though this is nothing around you is familiar. And you're seeing the Mrs. Cowdery, the woman who brought the amulet. And she says to you, "Now, Mary, be careful out there. The streets have been dangerous." And you exit out the door. And as you're going through the alleyways of Whitechapel, you suddenly feel very, very cold. And you turn around and you see a featureless face. And you come back awake again with the name Marianne Nichols prominent in your head, and you know her as one of the victims.
Maria. Oh, it's. I've felt them both. Susanna's gone. Susanna's moved on, but Maria.
Mary, I'm sorry.
Mary.
Yep.
But Mary was here too.
She's the one that was in the amulet, I think.
Yeah, did that feel familiar, like the spirit that I was communing with through the...
No question.
Okay.
No
Okay,
question. I think you now have a strong understanding of who this spirit is.
This is it's Mary. Somehow somebody let Mary loose, and I don't know why she... I think she's calling for our attention. She's got our attention, but yeah, it's Mary. This is I saw, and I think I saw the Whitechapel murderer, but it's no features, just this faceless. Yeah. I look around the room. I think we've gotten all that we can get from here. Susanna's gone. Susanna's at peace, and we need to somehow put Mary to rest.
So while we have a few moments here before anyone else arrives, so someone, I mean, we don't know if someone was able to contain her spirit in that amulet or if it just naturally went there because it was something tied to her, but someone had the Cowdreys bring that amulet here and let it go. That was not something I think just happened by chance.
That was deliberate. Somebody wanted to let, and to be quite honest, I think from what I've seen of the Cowdreys, I can't believe that they think of this or even be able to do this by themselves. There's some other influence here,
right,
behind this. And well, could it just be chance that it was Lady Churchill here when Mary possessed her, or is this targeted at the Churchills?
I mean, whoever brought that here and planned that to happen here has something targeted against the Churchills, whether they thought it was going to be a particular murder or just the scandal of having these murders happen at their home.
But Mary already attacked Susanna when Charlotte was here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing that prevented, or well, I mean, Charlotte has a very strong mind, but it could have tried and taken over Charlotte and killed her, but it took over Lady Churchill and killed Susanna. And it's...
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm just... It's targeting, and it can't be a coincidence that it's Susanna Lusk.
No.
So it's yeah.
I'd almost expect her to go after the husband, but maybe because of the Whitechapel connection, it's got to be a woman. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the way to hurt somebody is indirectly. You can do a lot more. Well, yeah.
So I want to cut to Dr. Charlotte. Dr. Charlotte, you left, you went down the hallways. You had to get a few directions from staff as you kind of navigated what is ultimately, as you go in towards the basement, a maze. It is, you come across root cellars. as you kind of go deeper down, the hallways get smaller, the ceiling gets a little lower, and you find an incredible wine cellar. And it's on the other side of the wine cellar that you open it up, and everything that's on your list that you handed that footman is there before you. And this footman, interestingly enough, must have cleaned the room, because there's no sign of dust or anything.
Oh, this is sensational. Oh, finally. I'm gonna walk into the room, kind of double check everything, pull out the rest of the blood that I have, and start getting to work. I'm using this.
How does Emerson fit into this? Right? Is Emerson familiar with a lab like this? Does he know what his mom's doing?
Yes, Emerson is my little special helper. So he can identify items that I would need in a moment. It's almost like watching a surgeon work with a nurse that's been around them for years. Like, I don't have to ask for an item I need. Emerson just knows what I need.
What is your strange versus your smarts? What do you have a higher stat in?
Oh, smarts.
Okay. This is going to be a smarts roll, and it's going to be with minor advantage. So you're going to add an additional D6 to this. So not a talent die. And we're going to have a little bit of time pass, but I want to get a sense of how successful this analysis is. And this is the analysis of the sister's blood, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So let's do a smarts roll and add a die. There we go. We got 1 success, 3 strange. It's a good thing you didn't fail this. It's a lot of strange.
Craig, we have so much time before the next horrible murder.
So much time.
All right. So I'm going to, Dr. Charlotte, we're going to cut back to you. We're going to find out what that success is. But I think you need a little bit of time to set things up and to do this analysis. Lady Rosalind, when we left you, you had been walking down the hallway, and somehow you heard Blackwood's voice in your head saying to you, "Come to me."
Indeed. I am going to stiffen instantly, because that is not something that happens to me very often. People don't get into my head. And then I'm going to smirk just a little bit and start. I assume I know where to go. Yes, okay. I will start to make my way there, but I'm going to go at kind of a normal human sort of pace through the house. And as I go, I think about the first time that I answered a call like this. Back when there was only one thing that could save me. And I remember running towards that call, towards him, towards Aurelius. And then I remember the last time that I answered his call, in a manner a lot like this one, only in flames. And I think about the screams around me as I pushed my way through, and I see his face and his hands reaching for me. And then I kind of shake my head, and I realize that I've just faltered in my step, and I am just stood mid-stride. And then I remember how I resolved that situation. And I remember just a little bit of what I do and who I really am. And then I am going to straighten myself up and go find him.
So you head towards his room, He is on what is considered kind of the privileged third floor of the estate, and you get to his door. What would you do? Would you knock? Would you turn the knob? What would you do here?
I'm going to just pause for a moment, and I'm going to put my hand on the door and just kind of listen for a moment.
So as your hand approaches the door, right the millisecond before you can feel the wood of that door, you hear a click. And the door just naturally swings open. Just a crack. And there is no light. Despite it being the morning, there is no light coming from the room.
I'm going to take a big, unnecessary breath and step through the door.
As you come in, you can see him in the back corner in a large, ornate chair. The blinds have been closed to his windows. You have no trouble seeing with this level of darkness. It's difficult to know why he has no direct sunlight coming in. Obviously, you have an aversion to it. You would anticipate he has an aversion to it, but it's not deadly as some of the rumors around your kind are. It takes a lot more than a little bit of sunlight to destroy one of yourselves. Close the door, dear.
I'll push it closed behind me and just put my back right up against it.
I can smell the blood. It's Lusk's wife. What happened?
I figured you would know better than I.
Wouldn't be asking you this if I did. She is dead. I can tell that. I can smell it. I can taste her.
Of course.
What happened?
I'm not sure. I wasn't there.
The pause is painful. Are any of your friends responsible for this?
Of course not.
The postman.
I told you I'd keep them in line. I am.
You see him start to open his mouth to say the next thing, and then he is right in front of you in a flash. He's slightly taller than you. He's looking at you, and he gently puts his hand on your cheek. I feel like I was a little harsh last night.
I agree.
I need you to understand something. And this is very, very important. It's important for me, and it's important for our kind. Lusk is under my protection. He is not to be touched. More so, you need to protect him. He is a key to this.
A key to what?
We're not there yet, my dear.
But yet you
Well,
want me to protect him.
You need to protect him. Forget everything you know. That shouldn't take long. Your only job here is to make sure Lusk remains unharmed.
You answer one question for me.
You can
And
ask.
I'll do as you ask. How do you smell like him?
Lusk is not a thrall, if that's what you're asking. Westbrook is one of mine. I control him. There's a few of the staff that I also control. I'm sure you can sense me on them as well. I have no control over Lusk. This is not about that. He is a crucial piece to this. And whatever is targeting him, whomever is going after him and the family, they cannot be allowed to happen.
I don't mean smell like them. How do you smell like Aurelius?
And he pauses for a second. That's where I recognize you, isn't it?
What?
It appears we have a common friend.
I don't
See
understand.
your origin?
Yes?
Oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. If he was anything, it was sloppy. Do we understand each other?
I am instantly going to stiffen at mention, I've been taking his insults, but the second he says anything about Aurelius, and I am instantly gone, and any sort of pretense of friendliness or working together that we had is gone. I'm just going to back up, fling the door open behind me, and I'm going to say, do your own damn dirty work. And I'm going to turn and walk off. I'm going to go find Charlotte.
And let's go to Charlotte. So Dr. Charlotte can you give me a little bit of idea what's in front of you now that you've had a little bit of time? You're
muted.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay. You will see a circular vial in a petri dish of blood. And in front of her is like many other smaller vials of blood, and seeing how it interacts with different compounds. Some things you'll see as like maybe a drop of acid might not be the safest thing, but other things you might see is herbal. So wolf's bane, things like that as well. So kind of playing up with some of the root work knowledge that she has read before, as well as some scientific knowledge. More so to see if it hurts.
So I think before you even asked for this list, we can hear you typing, Brian. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That's all right. Before you asked for this list, you had no idea what she was, what the sister was. But we got a bit of an insider clue into that, didn't we? Because one of the questions that we asked, who we now know to be Mary Ann Nichols, was, what is the nature of her? And the answer was F-A-E, Fae, right? So in your experimentation for your one success on smarts, this is confirmed because there's tales always told. You have never interacted with Fae before, is the impression I got, but you had heard that iron was something they were averse to, and the iron shavings you see turn the red blood black, and as you look close to it, you see it deaden. As it turns like a slight shade of green, then descends and falls into a blackness. So for that success, I think you understand that whatever this twin is, or non-twin is, this changeling, obviously she will react to blood. Now, interestingly enough, we did not see the typical interactions happening otherwise, right? Acid with human blood, that has a very particular rate. She's definitely not human. So in your experimentation, I think we have confirmed what she is, and that the legends you've heard about iron with her kind seem to be confirmed as well.
Okay. I'm gonna look to Emerson's like, okay, this is exciting. In fact, maybe I should ask one of my friends, is it good to hit her over the head with an iron bar, or maybe pierce her with an iron arrow?
So Emerson indicates his preference. What does he indicate to you that he prefer between those two?
Emerson does this. Oh, such a great little listener you are.
Let's have the door open. And Lady Rosalind, you have found your way to the lab with a little bit of help from the staff. Though honestly, I think you just needed to be pointed in the general direction. Then you could smell Emerson and Charlotte and just follow that. As the door throws open, you see her in her element.
That's just like home, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Are you ever going to get used to that?
It's fine. It's fine. All right. I have some amazing news. The twin sister is a fae creature, and
Fae,
yes. Fairies, changelings, things of that nature. And iron hurts them. Come, look. And I'll grab your hand, taking you over.
All right.
So as you can see, the acid doesn't work upon this blood, but in this dish, shavings of iron, it killed it.
Oh, great. So we just need to smack her in the head with an iron bar, right?
Yes, that's the same thing I thought. Absolutely. Maybe piercing will be better. Emerson has no
Oh, right. Maybe we could make a steak, like an iron steak. Right through the chest, yes?
That would exciting.
Work. We also need to make one out of silver because I need to kill Blackwood.
Oh, of course. I thought that was going to be on the docket anyway.
Oh, great. All right. I mean, yes, it was absolutely always on the docket. We were always going to kill him, not join him at all. Anyway.
I don't need to know how you got to your decision. I am just glad we are at the same decision. All right, so we have two bodies. Also, sometimes I can go a little bit forward with things. Shall I try and kill the sister?
Of course.
All right, I'm convinced.
I can help, really.
Oh,
that's fine. I'm here for it. That's what our friends for.
So Harry and Elizabetha she's come to. She shared with you what essentially appears to be a vision. The only extra thing, Elizabetha, that lingers with you was the last moment before you regained consciousness was the ivory-handled butcher knife that was being raised and brought down upon you right before you woke up. Very distinct. A knife that's used to prepare swine, but fancy, with a very particular handle. The door flies open again. A lot of doors flying open here. Mm-hmm. And Inspector Aberline is there. What have you touched?
The minimum we had to get Lady Churchill out of the room, sir.
Where is she now?
She's in her room.
And Randolph?
Is going to tend to her.
This goes without saying, but nobody leaves this house.
I'll do what I can for it, sir. That's something the servants will need to know, but I imagine you've already told them.
I'm going to go to his room. And he whisks himself away. Oh, do you have something to say, Harry?
Nope. That's literally what Harry does. He's like, oh, okay.
Elizabeth, when Alberline came in, is kind of, disappearing into the background again. Just trying. You don't see me. I'm not here.
What's next for the two of you?
I'm gonna probably do, and I imagine this may have been something Harry was doing while Elisabetta was unconscious. Just a quick visual sweep of the room under the bed, checking things just to see if there's anything we might have missed when, because obviously it's a lot coming into this room. We may have not looked for details. I'm not expecting to find anything, but it's the sort of thing where he has that sense of thoroughness that he's going to regret it if he doesn't do it.
Let's do a smarts roll real quick. With Elisabetta there, they'll give you a minor advantage, so you can add a die.
Okie dokie. So I'm just bringing that up by one. Not so much.
Oh, you picked up a luck.
I did. And now that I have 2 luck, I would have to use that on another roll, right?
So you need the 2 luck in the roll itself.
Oh, right. Got it.
You can't. When you spend luck, it's just to add a die.
Right. Okay, carry on.
So sorting through, I think it's a matter of you maybe stopping yourself. There's still a desecrated dead woman on the bed here, and you're going through their stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't need to do this. We know what happened here.
Right. Yeah.
So I will, look over at Elisabetta when it looks like she's come back, and she tells me what happened. It's like, well, I don't believe there's much more we can do here.
I agree. I think I saw the Whitechapel murderer's weapon, and I described the ivory-handled knife.
Good to know.
And I think the question is now, do we try and find Mary? Do we try and find the murderer? Do you want to try and help Lady Churchill, or do we leave that to... Because, I mean, she was clearly possessed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if and when she comes back to herself, I'd like to think we might be able to find out what she remembers, what she was doing when it happened. I can probably get there and make the inquiries without seeming too out of sorts.
I think the moment that they realize possession, they'll ask for Madame Seraphine. They won't be asking for me.
Well, if you think they'll take it seriously, I have a feeling most of them treat that mysticism, no offense meant, as a bit of a parlor trick and not anything they really need to worry about, even though some of us obviously know better.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lord Churchill starts reaching for those kind of things, if he wants to keep his wife out of Gaul, and but I've never banished a spirit like that so powerful.
Well, you've done more of it than I think any of the rest of us have. I'm sorry, Craig, remind me. I know at one point we had tried to get a hold of Westbrook and or find the amulet. We still haven't been able to get that, have we?
Correct. You have Westbrook. The last we met with Westbrook, he came to the breakfast table to inform Dr. Charlotte not to do exactly what she did do, which is go down to this lab until he gives permission, and he's talked to Churchill about it. But no sign of this amulet, no sign of Westbrook since this morning, maybe an hour and a half ago.
Well, we'll deal with that when it comes up. But I think the best bet might be to try and see if we can see Lady Churchill and see if there's anything that we can learn or anything that can be done for her. Are you good to travel? You seem to have had a bit taken of you.
Yep. Okay. It's I'm good now. I stand up, check myself. Yeah. I'll be good.
All right.
So as the two of you exit, I assume we're headed to the master suite.
Yeah, I will make sure there is a servant outside the door that nobody but the Churchills or Aberline gets in there.
Yeah, and you have a certain voice about you, Harry. Having been staff and stuff, I think that even though this is not the staff that you are familiar with, I'm just imagining that Harry is very good at making it very clear what you are to do and not to do. So this man just stands completely at attention, is taking it very seriously that he's going to stay outside this room. The two of you get to the staircase, and as you start to go up the staircase, you kind of merge with, as we kind of maybe anticipated, Seraphina and Montague. And they kind of give you a nod. They don't say anything, and right now it's a little uncomfortable. Like, do you go first? Do we go first? For the next flight?
Harry is normally a gentleman, but this is an unusual circumstance, so he will take the lead. And, he will probably, when it gets clear, take Elisabetta's arm in a very just sort of nondescript gentlemanly way and take point up the stairs.
And Elisabetta, as that happens, you brush against Montague, and I need a strange roll.
Oh.
You picked up some luck.
I'll change those 2 luck into 1 success.
Oh, that's right. Look at you. I just got done talking about it. That is 1 strange success. Well done. Let's read the bones here a little bit. This is going to be more by luck than by power. So I'm going to give you some information about the 2 of these people. But I'd love to figure out, why is it with luck and not with your powers?
I think because I wasn't concentrating. I was still a bit disconcerted from the vision. I don't really have visions that often, and this has been a very full day, etc. So I'm actually feeling mentally quite tired, and I'm at the same time, I'm feeling very comfortable being close to Harry, and he reaches for my arm and gives me an arm, and I reach it, and it's actually just pure accident that as I kind of skip a bit forward to keep up with Harry, that my hand brushes against his coat, and it wasn't deliberate at all. Just, kind of distracted. Yeah.
So as you brush him, you sense something. And this is the first time you've had physical contact with him. You've been in their proximity before. You sense a 10-minute break. We'll be right back.
In the year of 1888, under a moonlit sky so late, Harry hunts the shadows where the monsters lie in wait. Elizabeth's crystal ball reveals the hidden truth. She sees the threads of fate in the echoes of her youth. Dr. Charlotte's mad machines, sparked by a lightning's kiss, in her lab of dark and dreams, she concocts her twisted bliss. Lady Rosalie in satin, with a mask of pure disguise, holds secrets in her gaze behind her emerald eyes. At the Churchill country estate, where the darkness whispers fade, a Halloween masquerade, where fears and masks cascade. In the Gothic halls they roam, far from Whitechapel's tomb, the hunters and the haunted, beneath the crimson moon. In the mansion's haunted halls, where the shadows come alive, the whispers of the Whitechapel murders keep the night deprived. Harry wields his silver blade in search of beasts unseen, while Elizabeth's visions dance in spectral silver sheen. Dr. Charlotte's laugh rings mine through the midnight's chilling air. Her creations stir and shudder with a manic, deadly flare. Lady Rosalie glides through with a grace that chills the bone. In the galler's eerie glow, they stand together, yet alone. Mansion's haunted halls, where the shadows come alive, the whispers of the Whitechapel murders keep the night deprived. Harry wields his silver blade in search of beasts unseen, while Elizabeth's visions dance in spectral silver sheen. Dr. Charlotte's laugh rings wide through the midnight's chilling air. Her creations stir and shudder with a manic, deadly flare. Lady Rosalie glides through with a grace that chills the bone. In the galler's eerie glow, they stand together, yet alone. In the galler's eerie glow, they stand together, yet alone. In the year of 1888, under a moonlit sky so late, Harry hunts the shadows where the monsters lie in wait. Elizabeth's crystal ball reveals the hidden truth. She sees the threads of fate in the echoes of her youth. Dr. Charlotte's mad machines, sparked by a lightning's kiss, in her lab of darkened dreams, she concocts her twisted bliss. Lady Rosalie in satin, with a mask of pure disguise, holds secrets in her gaze behind her emerald eyes. At the Churchill country estate, where the darkness whispers fade, a Halloween masquerade, where fears and masks cascade. In the Gothic halls they roam, far from Whitechapel's tomb, the hunters and the haunted, beneath the crimson moon. In the mansion's haunted halls, where the shadows come alive, the whispers of the Whitechapel murders keep the night deprived. Harry wields his silver blade in search of beasts unseen, while Elizabeth's visions dance in spectral silver sheen. Dr. Charlotte's laugh rings wide through the midnight's chilling air. Her creations stir and shudder with a manic, deadly flare. Lady Rosalie glides through with a grace that chills the bone. In the galler's eerie glow, they stand together, yet alone. Mansion's haunted halls, where the shadows come alive, the whispers of the Whitechapel murders keep the night deprived. Harry wields his silver blade in search of beasts unseen, while Elizabeth's visions dance in spectral silver sheen. Dr. Charlotte's laugh rings wide through the midnight's chilling air. Her creations stir and shudder with a manic, deadly flare. Lady Rosalie glides through with a grace that chills the bone. In the galler's eerie glow, they stand together, yet alone. In the galler's eerie glow, they stand together, yet alone. In the year of 1888, under a moonlit sky so late, Harry hunts the shadows where the monsters lie in wait. Elizabeth's crystal ball reveals the hidden truth. She sees the threads of fate in the echoes of her youth. Dr. Charlotte's mad machines, sparked by a lightning's kiss, in her lab of darkened dreams, she concocts her twisted bliss. Lady Rosalie in satin, with a mask of pure disguise, holds secrets in her gaze behind her emerald eyes. At the Churchill country estate, where the darkness whispers fate, a Halloween masquerade, where fears and masks cascade. In the Gothic halls they roam, far from Whitechapel's tomb, the hunters and the haunted, beneath the crimson moon. In the mansion's haunted halls, where the shadows come alive, the whispers of the Whitechapel murders keep the night deprived. Harry wields his silver blade in search of beasts unseen.
As you brush against him, you sense both of them. And the feeling you get for just a brief moment is some sort of energy connection between the two of them. And it's just fleeting. I feel like you want more. It's not enough. It's very odd. It's something that you've never felt before, but there's some sort of energy connection between the two of them.
Okay.
And they
I think
follow behind you.
I involuntarily look at the both of them and then just kind of scuttle forwards, keeping up with with Harry?
I don't think it's clear whether Montague recognizes why you looked back at him, but as soon as you make eye contact with him, he immediately breaks eye contact and looks down at his feet. He did not want to maintain eye contact with you. She seems somewhat oblivious to this. Let's go ahead and put you at the front door of the master suite.
Mm-hmm.
And before we do anything, I want to go back down to the lab. How long is the kill list now?
Right, so Blackwood, of course, that should be our target, main priority. And then the sister, I never can remember their names, sorry. That's not,
Evelyn.
not the top of my mind. Yeah, that was very much in character. I don't know the names. And then the butler, we need to remove him as well. He's a thrall. And something about Lusk being the key. We should.
Oh, so we're killing Lusk as well.
You know, I actually was thinking, I wonder what would happen if I put a blade to his throat, because he said Lusk is under my protection. I wonder if that would provoke him.
Oh, I have an idea. We can get rid of his stash of blood as well.
Oh, that is a brilliant idea. Just put it all in my room and lock the door. Sure, that'll keep him out.
I was going to throw it over the balcony, but that works for me.
It'd probably be safer to completely destroy it.
What's next for Charlotte and Rosalind now? Where are we going, or what are we going to do?
Ooh, well, we should tell our friends and our new friends.
Is a really strong word.
Oh, Elizabeth is a longtime friend of mine. It's Harry that I'm worried about. But he seems okay.
Sure.
He hasn't tried to kill us yet.
No, he hasn't tried to kill me yet, and that is a credit to him. Most people would have by now been messing with him a little bit. I should probably stop.
No, don't.
But yes,
stop.
we should
Keep
find
using
them. It is kind of funny, isn't it?
Yes.
We should definitely rope them in, I believe, and let them know what information. I'm sure they have information that they have found out as well. Might be best for us to collaborate.
All right, let's go find them. Ooh, and then we'll find silver and iron, and it's going to be fantastic. Silver.
Yes, we will find them both. We'll be looking around as we make our way up to them. Things made of silver or iron.
Okay. So we're looking to reconnect with Harry and Elisabetta?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There'll be a little bit of asking around among the staff, but eventually you're going to be told that the last they were seen, they were headed up to the master suite. So let's leave you as the two of you start to work your way up there as well. Let's go back to the door of the suite, and you've got the couple right behind you, Harry and Elisabetta.
And they're within a few feet, right? They're pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will just, sort of politely knock at the door.
And a footman opens the door.
Okay.
And looks to Randolph Churchill, and he gives a nod. And he kind of physically gets out of your way, allowing the two of you to enter. He then recognizes who's right behind you, again looks to Churchill for confirmation. Churchill also gives confirmation, so the door is left open for the four of you to enter. And what you see is, until this moment, it was just the three of you, or three of them. It was Lord Randolph. Jeannie is in bed, perfectly made bed. It's almost like she's been slid under the covers, but has not disturbed the bed in any way. She's laying there with pillows. Her eyes are open, but she's just staring off right up to the ceiling. And she's still as you walk in.
I mean, breathing, but...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Serafina goes, Lord Churchill, I heard your call. You mentioned that something odd is happening with your wife. You could say that. She's non-responsive, and I don't think it's medical. And my hope is, Madame, that with your powers, you could somehow connect with her. Serafina shoots a quick glance to Elisabetta and then heads to the side of the bed.
Craig, I know we can't see much of her under the covers, but does it look like Jeannie has been cleaned up?
She has definitely been cleaned up. Her clothes have been changed.
Cool.
So she's in a basically a nightgown, what a woman of her stature might wear in the evening when she's outside of the bedroom, but obviously either just coming out of bed or headed to bed.
At the moment, I'm kind of content to lay back and see what the madam does, but I'll kind of, look to Elisabetta.
Elisabetta is also I'm going to squeeze your hand and also just kind of make a step back, like, okay, let's see her do this first. And, I look at Serafina, but I'm also watching her man as well. So I'm looking at the both of them now. Because previously I'd only been concentrating on Serafina, but now I feel wait a minute, there's something more here.
So Madame Serafina puts her hand gently on Jeannie's forehead. She closes her eyes. Lord Churchill, your wife is in here. She's aware, but she seems trapped. She seems helpless. Do you have something of hers, something valuable, something that's important to her? And Lord Churchill's, yes, and he grabs her wedding ring and hands it to Serafina. Need another strange check, Elisabetta.
Come on.
You made it clear to me that you're very fascinated by the work that Madame Serafina does. So I'm envisioning you being very focused on this ritual as she takes this ring and she says, there's somebody back in London that she's ashamed of, Lord Randolph. She's saddened and ashamed of someone who's not here in this house. Somebody that she has been interacting with, and the shame has put her into this state. She is afraid. She's afraid to talk to you and to reveal things to you. For that success, Elisabetta, there is nothing going on right now.
Yeah, and I think that even, I'm trying to keep a straight face, and I'm like, come on. Are you going to try and scam them? This is how you're going to try and scam them?
Yeah, and Harry, not knowing anything about the psychic impact of it, but knowing what has really happened, just kind of looks over at Elisabetta and just gives her this really look.
Seraphina goes, Lord Churchill, I'm going to hold on to this and spend some time with it and see if I can't get a clearer sense of what potentially is binding her. Lord Churchill goes, no, of course, please, just when you're done, just return it, of course. And it's going to take some time, Lord Randolph. I understand. Is she okay? I hope so. And she kind of stands, and she falters a bit. And Montague catches her and turns to Churchill, and Montague goes, I think the madam needs to lie down. This takes much out of her. And they go to leave.
If she or Montague happens to look over at Harry, and I have no reason to think that they would, but they will see Harry is very much giving her the "I know exactly what you're doing and I hate you" look.
The Victorian stink eye.
the death glare. Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm, when it's clear, like, this is all fraud. I mean, I knew it was a fraud, and I thought she was doing it really well in the parlor, but I thought, this is a bit tasteless. And I think at the end, and that's perhaps, I slip my hand into one of my pockets and I touch my iron crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, they're leaving. I'm here. And I just want to use my, I have one of my powers, or let's see, which is it? My spectral sight.
Can you read
which
it to
allows
us?
me, while holding the ball, I can see invisible and spectral enemies for the next 3 combat rounds. But this is just, I just want to check that. Are there any other presences in the room while they're heading out? I just hold the ball and I'm looking around, like, perhaps, like, is Lady Randolph out of her body? Is there anything else in the room that's not visible?
So real quick on that power, is there any limitation? Is it once per doom quarter? Is there a roll or any indication?
No, it's just use and interact action. So it's
Perfect.
I think it's more for combat, but
Yep, it'll work here.
I think, yeah.
Yep. You touch the ball, and as they're leaving, you pick up 2 things. One, there is an incredible energy inside of Lady Churchill. She almost is glowing for you. But there's an energy passing back and forth between Madame Seraphina and Montague. It's difficult to tell what direction. It is one direction, though. And I do want a strange roll because I want to tell you more, but I want the dice to tell me where I can stop. Okay. There's all kinds of different ways that you have sensed energy moving, right? In your work. There's an exchange of energy, a trade of energy that can happen between people, between the other side and people. This is a pull. Between the two of them, somebody's pulling energy from the other. But you can't quite sense who's the pull and the pulley as they leave.
Okay. And I think I watch them leave, the door closes behind them, and I'm frowning, and I take my hand off the ball and I look back towards Lady Churchill, and just, I think there's still the imprint on my eyes of her, how much she's glowing, and I try and set Seraphina and Montague out of my mind, and just thinking, would I even know how to help her or not? Should I try?
We see. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I see Elisabetta turn her attention to Lady Churchill, I'm going to kind of go over and talk to Lord Randolph, try and like keep his focus off there. And so, yeah. So, when was the last time you saw your wife before? What happened? Do you know where she was, who she was with?
We had breakfast brought up to the room. We ate here. Trying to remember, Harry. She stood up. We and he motions over. You can see the table. You can still see the remnants of the breakfast still at this little dinette in the suite. She stood up and she said nothing to me and left. We were having a bit of an argument about how we're going to handle the scandal of things and what happened at the ball. We disagreed. She felt that we should engage the press. It was stupid, Harry. It was a stupid argument. I felt she was cross with me, and she stood up and she just left. And I can only assume that she just went directly to the Lusk's bedroom. But no, Harry. Until that moment, it did get cold. My coffee was cold, and I had just poured it.
And I will kind of take him over to the table. Now, it's the sort of thing where they like brought in a serving tray, like a cart or something, and brought the dishes over.
Yeah, so you could see that there was a large tray that was carried up, right? So the tray is over on top of one of the nightstand bureaus, and then all of the multiple plates, a carafe where obviously coffee. There's some fresh juice still there. You can see the crumbs of what was likely, poached eggs.
Right. And I'm just gonna start like looking around, see if there's anything like carved in the tray or under the tray. I'm not really expecting to find anything. Mostly I'm trying to keep his attention over here. So if Elisabetta wants to do something, she can.
I think Elisabetta will interpret it as Harry's distracting him, so Harry wants me to try. And she's going to, just slowly very quietly drift over towards, eyes on the two of you, slowly drift over towards the bed and Lady Churchill. And, I'm biting my lip a bit and like, okay, Harry wants me to try, and I'm going to, stand next to her and very carefully, while you're talking, reach out and touch her cheek with the back of my hand. Open with trying to keep myself open for. Well, no, I'm going to put my other hand in the crystal ball, just as extra strength. And I am starting to feel a bit tired and raw. Yeah, but I'm like, okay, Harry wants me to try, and I'll very carefully touch her cheek with the back of my hand.
So, Dr. Charlotte and Lady Rosalind, you're on the second flight of stairs, working your way up to the Churchill master bedroom suite, and coming down the stairs are the Ashcroft twins.
Oh, good afternoon, you two.
Hello, Dr. Charlotte. She's not saying, Evelyn's saying nothing, but William is making strong eye contact with you. Did you sleep well?
Of course, I'm going to full flash walk over and just hug William closely.
I'm going to watch Evelyn like a hawk.
He is discombobulated by this physical contact, and you give him a big hug, and it stops them. You guys are like mid-stare, right? They were headed downstairs, yes. You were headed upstairs. You embrace him. He is technically larger than you, taller, but he seems so small right now, as you engulf him in your arms. And Evelyn goes, this is inappropriate.
And I'm going to just so gently whisper to him, don't worry. And let him go.
Don't worry, we're going to kill her for you.
And
Exactly.
obviously, he does this out of sight of his sister. Kind of your bodies are blocking her view. He gives you a very earnest squeeze. He takes his hand to your shoulder or to your elbow and gives you a very hard squeeze. That's more than just I heard you. Give me a heart roll real quick.
Okay.
Come on, come on, come on.
We got this.
We got it.
Mm.
No, we don't
got
need
this.
We don't.
You can tell he's trying to communicate something to you more than just I heard you. But you feel he gets jerked a little bit by Evelyn as she pulls him away, and they start to continue down the steps.
Evelyn, why do you have to be so boring?
I think she's quite fascinating.
I think
In
you have
one
bad
aspect.
influence on my brother, and obviously a bad influence on Lady Rosalind. This is way beneath you, Lady Rosalind.
Influence. Darling, if anyone here is the bad influence, it is me.
Are we going to continue up the stairs? Let's have you get to the master suite. You're at the door. What are we doing?
Harry?
Harry kind of looks up.
And the footman seems, who's by the door, goes, Lord Trishul, I'm not quite sure who that could be.
I believe that's Dr. Charlotte. If you're willing, sir, she might be able to assist with your wife's recovery.
I think if we've learned anything, that my initial assumption of the good doctor may have been incorrect. It seems that only my wife had intentions on hurting Susanna.
I do not believe that was your wife's intention, sir. I do not think she was in her right mind when this happened.
No, thank you, Harry. Yes, yeah, she should look at Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I'm impatient with being kept left outside. And I'm just like, oh, for God's sake. And I just push through the door.
And we see the footman reaching for the door until it gets thrown into the door.
And Harry's like,
and the two of you see this scene. Elizabeth, let's cut to you. She's cold. Not death cold, but she's cold. All four of you, two things happen almost simultaneously. One, we suddenly see Churchill put his hand to his nose and make a face. And that second he makes that face as he's touching his nose, all four of you, your nostrils fill with the smell of decay. The smell of death. As if the room is filled with it, and it's not it is a someone killed a chicken and hid it somewhere smell. It's just, and it's been here for weeks. Just an awful ammonia smell fills all of your nostrils.
Where
My
is that
God,
smell coming from?
what is that?
yeah, is there any sign? Can I like sniff around to figure out where it's coming from?
It's omnidirectional, Harry. And Lady Rosalind, even with your heightened senses, it is overwhelming to you, and it has no, like, if someone killed a chicken and hid it under the bed, Lady Rosalind would know exactly where this decaying smell is coming from, and it is for you omnidirectional as well.
There is something, shall we say, otherworldly about it?
More of the esoteric.
Absolutely. Would we expect anything less at this point?
That is true.
Don't we have enough
Elizabeth?
to deal with already?
Elizabeth, because of the connection you're making, I don't know if you respond to it. You have the smell, but, and it's not that it's not repulsive, but it's not, it's almost like your attentions are elsewhere, right? So you don't react the same way that the other four of them are. We hear the footman kind of go, like try to catch himself in a gag, and you have to excuse me, sir. And he rushes out of the room with just kind of a greenish hue to his face. All right, Elizabeth. Is there a built-in mechanic of an advantage that happens here with a crystal ball? I can't remember.
Well, I can use the crystal ball to once per doom quarter to divine threats, and otherwise it's for my spectral sight.
Okay. You are in a fresh doom quarter.
Yeah, I'm in a fresh doom quarter, so
Do you want to use it? You don't. By no means do you. It's gonna give you advantage here. But I want to offer, before we do this, I want to offer whether you want to use this now or save it.
I think
later.
I'm saving it. I'm saving it because I was just like, I've never dealt with possessed people or that type of thing, and and I'm tired. So it was just like, I want to check what I can feel, whether I can feel anything. So I'm not using it for the per doom quarter. It's just, and perhaps also kind of for reassurance. I don't think it doesn't necessarily always give me power, but it is something that that I've often used with my powers. So.
I love the idea that maybe this is just a glass ball, but because of your emotional connection to it, it just pulls more out of you, or that it is truly. I love the idea of not knowing that. So let's do this. You're gonna get an advantage, a minor advantage. So you're gonna add a die to the strange roll. Do you have any luck that you want to use?
I don't have any luck.
Okay.
So I add a skill die at 1d6.
Yep. And you've got the back of your hand touching her cheek.
Yeah.
As the smell dissipates, everybody but Elisabetta sees this, and it's your breath. And that's the indication before you can feel that cold, the temperature drop. You can see your breath in front of you. Elisabetta, as you've stretched your hand out to touch the back of her cheek, it exposes part of your forearm. You are connecting. You are sensing Jeannie, but she is being dominated, and she is not alone in there.
Mm-hmm.
This happens within a half second of each other. The first thing is we see 4 scratch marks start to etch on the inside of your forearm. You're looking at Jeannie's head, your hands on her cheek. She's eyes wide open, stares up above. And as soon as you realize that something is scratching your forearm, her head snaps and looks at you. You're wasting time. It's not her voice. Let's go to credits.
moonlit sky so late. Harry hunts the shadows where the monsters lie in wait. Elizabeth's crystal ball reveals the hidden truth. She sees the threads of fate in the echoes of her youth. Dr. Charlotte's mad machines, sparked by a lightning's kiss. In her lab of darkened dreams, she concocts her twisted bliss. Lady Rosalie in satin, with a mask of pure disguise, holds secrets in her gaze behind her emerald eyes. At the Churchill country estate, where the darkness whispers fate, a Halloween masquerade, where fears and masks cascade. In the Gothic halls they roam, far from Whitechapel's tomb. The hunters and the haunted, beneath the crimson moon. In the mansion's haunted halls, where the shadows come alive, the whispers of the Whitechapel murders keep the night deprived. Harry wields his silver blade in search of beasts unseen, while Elizabeth's visions dance in spectral silver sheen. Dr. Charlotte's laugh rings wild through the midnight's chilling air. Her creations stir and shudder with a manic deadly flare. Lady Rosalie glides through with a grace that chills the bone. In the gallery's eerie glow, they stand together, yet alone.
All right. Woo. Unfortunately, because of scheduling, we pushed this back a little later, and so we needed to end it. But we were saying during the credits, like these short sessions are unacceptable, especially with time bit. So there's a very good chance we're going to be back again in 2 weeks, and we're already discussing of maybe blocking a little bit more time and getting a super session in for episode 7. All right, a lot happened though in this short amount of time, and I feel more than anything we got a lot more information. I feel like we know a lot more than we did just 2 hours ago. I think I want to start with you, Dika. We're going to do thoughts, stars, and wishes. Thoughts. Let's talk about what the hell's going on here.
Okay. So thoughts. It's interesting seeing how everything's kind of coming up now. So Blackwood's clearly a problem, and now tossing Mr. Lusk in it. No idea what's happening there anymore. He's still the bad person,
Right.
like no idea. That threw me for a loop. But getting confirmation that the spirit is Mary Nichols. Yeah, it's like that one. I was like, okay, this makes sense. We're getting somewhere we understand now. Vampire stuff, we're gonna put that to the side. Don't know what the hell's going on. Spirit stuff, all right, maybe probably after Mr. Lusk and the vampire don't know how to deal with that. So love that, he's on his own. Love that for us.
What do you think is Charlotte's priority list right now, Dika?
Oh, completely different than everyone else's. Her priority is absolutely killing Evelyn.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
literally the vampire stuff, the ghost stuff. That's background noise. Exciting background noise, but background.
As a percentage, what percentage of that bloodlust is because of William and because it'd be great to get some pieces of a fae to take home?
Oh my gosh. So like 50-50. 50%, it's good to get some pieces of Fae. The other 50 is because William brilliant mind is being stifled by this Fae creature, and that's not fair.
Excellent. All right, so stars. When did the episode really click for you?
Oh, because I was waiting so long to see what was going to happen with Lazy Rosalind and Sir Blackwood. That is when it clicked. So it was like, okay, good. Because I was wondering, like that whole scene was like, all right, Lady Rosalind could easily just betray all of us. Let's be honest here. But then he messed up, and now she's on our side. So that entire star situation for me, like that scene in itself, is just two vampires going at it.
It's like camping.
Yes.
So during Camping for Gamers this time, I had a chance to play in one of Dika's sessions of Vampire the Masquerade, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, so wishes. What are you wishing for, Dika, in the next couple episodes? What would you like to see more of? What have you not seen that you would like to see?
Oh my God, it's perfect. So I am wishing that we start with our kill list and see what hijinks we get into.
Murderous hijinks.
Murderous hijinks. That's a good band name.
All right, Amy, let's start with thoughts.
Oh, thoughts. Man, it's so good. I honestly didn't know whether I was going to betray all of y'all either, but Blackwood ruined that for himself. So that's what happens. We're all good again. Let's go
You
murder
seem to be
this
biting
guy.
at the bullet with a Lusk theory, and I'm gonna ask what this is.
I don't know what the Lusk theory is yet. I have that little information that Lusk is the key, has to be protected. So, obviously all of this is revolving around Lusk for some reason. And I don't know what that reason is yet. As either Rosalind or Amy. No clue what's up with that yet. But man, I can't wait to find out. Oh, I can't wait to tell Harry all of it.
I would love to learn some more things.
Harry will know. Harry will know what to do with this information.
All right, stars. When did everything click the most for you, Amy?
Oh man, I don't know if there's a moment when it all went click quite yet, but my star is gonna have to be you tonight, Craig. I created a whole lot of like these really tense sort of moments with each one of us individually, and I really enjoyed that. And then you're wasting time, like your voice literally freaked me out, gave me a little shiver there for a second. So that was fantastic. So you're my star for tonight.
Oh, you're the best.
Today,
James.
it's not night, it's day. I don't know where I am.
All right. Well, and what are we wishing for? What would you like to see more of, and what haven't you seen yet you want?
I want a really long session. I want to see what's going to happen when Lusk is threatened, either by myself or by somebody else. If it doesn't happen, I might force it to happen because I really want to see how he'd react to it. Really want to see it.
You just want to poke that bear.
I do. I love bear poking. So good.
So what the hell is going on, Naomi? Do you have any thoughts?
Oh, you said, there's all this information. I feel after this session, there's even more questions. So,
Agreed.
Yeah. What's going on? I hadn't expected Blackwood to say that you have to protect Lusk, because I was pretty convinced that, the letting Mary escape from the amulet, that was Blackwood's doing. Which still might be the case, but perhaps it's kind of backfired and it's not under his control, and he was planning to have it under control, because it was also he's asking Lady Rosalind for help. So yeah, at the moment, just more and more questions, but really, and I think I really enjoyed that all of a sudden I have that bond or whatever is going on between Madame Seraphina and Montague. I really enjoy that. There's even more questions and even more stuff to get into.
So, and you know this as well as anybody, Naomi, because you run mysteries, you run horror all the time as a GM. There's this delicate balance, right? If we just keep creating more questions, eventually, and I have been a player in this scenario, you're just like, I like, stop it, right? This is frustrating now. Can you give me a sense of how close we are to a tipping point there? Or do you feel like we need to start getting less questions, more answers?
No,
Or
I think there's it's you know, I think we're still at a good point. You know,
okay,
it's like all these new questions is like, you know, oh, even more interest and not so much distracting. But I think it's because we do get parts of revelation, and it's just like, okay, if in the next one we'll probably be able to fit some of the puzzle pieces together. So it's still I think we're still at a good number of questions, and the questions that come up and the new crumbs of information, I think that's going at a correct pace. It's just, you know, it keeps me wanting to, like, okay, next session.
I know, right? I feel that in my bones. All right, so let's do stars. When did things really cook with gas for you?
I think it's just getting all these opportunities to use my powers. I think that I'm really, you know, looking, and I think that Elizabeth is also just, you know, suddenly she came here kind of thinking about, you know, I do have some small powers, but, you know, I want to get rich, and how can I'll see how Serafina does that, see how I can move up in the world. And then all of a sudden it's just like it's turned supernatural, and I'm just really starting to flex my powers and
it's so cool.
find out what I can do, and perhaps also, and I do get a feeling perhaps starting to overreach. I might overreach at some point in time. So I think at the time that she was like, okay, I'll see what I can check from Lady Churchill, was mainly because of Harry. Like, okay, I don't want to, I'll do this. But I think that that's for me, the star was for this episode, just seeing looking at my inventory. What do I have? What can I try? I really enjoyed that.
I'm really enjoying a lot of your choices about Elizabeth. There was a lot of ways that you could have approached this character, and I really love the decisions you're making. It makes her very interesting to watch as you discover her. So hats off on that.
And I think for wishes, I'd forgotten this the last time, but I want to see more Emerson. I love that's my other little my other star is Emerson's like, you know, do we club her over the head or do we stab her? And he's like, yeah, whatever.
That was perfect.
So I'm really I think that at one point Emerson's just gonna, you know, he's in the background, we don't notice him, and then suddenly Emerson's gonna be there, and I'm really looking forward to that moment.
He feels like a loaded gun, doesn't he?
Yeah. One that we're entirely forgetting the entire time, and then suddenly it's just like,
yeah. All right.
Chekhov's homunculus.
Exactly. All right, Brian, thoughts? What the hell's going on here?
Wow. Well, my first thought is it's good to be back. As far as thoughts, yeah, like Naomi was saying, the whole revelation that Lusk is kind of under, under the protection of Sir Blackwood is really kind of a curveball.
Yeah.
So that's why I can't wait to find this information out, because I really do want to sort of confront Westbrook about the amulet, try and get that back, because I think that's going to be important in resolving what's going on here. I'm also glad we're at a point where Marianne Nichols is to some extent communicating with us now, because it's like, we need to know, what do you want? What can we do to help you?
Yeah.
Harry is a very Harry's not dumb, but he's somewhat of a blunt instrument. So he's like, all right, there are murders going on with this ghost, and I don't want any more of that. There's a fey person. All right, I don't care. That's for later. There's something. This psychic is an energy vampire. All right, fine. We'll deal with that. That's not important right now. Right now, there are people getting killed. I need to solve that. And I feel like we're getting closer.
Yeah, I do too.
Stars, I have two. One was when Madame Safina showed up and was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to make up some bullshit for you, and then I'm going to take your wife's wedding ring. I was like, you bitch. Because I
Thanks.
have a tremendous hate on for cold readers and those kinds of predatory
Same.
psychics. So seeing that, and there's just but my favorite moment was when we were exploring the murder scene at the beginning, and Elisabetta slipped her hand into Harry's. Now,
Mhm.
Brian knows what Naomi is doing because we've got bonds and background stuff from going on, but that caught Harry completely by surprise. And that was a moment where I was just like, oh, I mean, it brought me back to, dating in high school. It's like, I don't know what's happening. This is strange. And I'm confused. Help. Which gives you an idea of how my love life in high school went. But that was just such a beautiful. I don't have space for this in my brain right now.
I really love having those bonds behind the scenes and having 4 expert players have that ammunition, because I also kind of love the audience not knowing what these bonds are. It makes them feel more real to me. And I forget about them. And then we have those moments, Brian, where I'm like, oh God, this is just the best. This is just the best. I love that impact.
Yeah, for sure.
Wishes.
Well, like everybody else has said, looking forward to a longer session next time, because I want to, it's been too long and I want to keep this momentum going. And also, like I said, I really want to be able to take advantage of this communication we have with the spirit, such as it is, to try and get a sense of what we can do to solve her problem.
So we've got a lot coming up. This coming Tuesday, we have episode 2 of Outgunned, a surprise hit. A lot of people have watched that first episode, which makes me happy. Another banger cast, another great game. It is full adrenaline. When we left them, spoiler, there's 4 people that jumped out of a plane and only 3 parachutes. A week from today, you get a chance to see Naomi, Brian, and myself. But things are going to be switched around. We're playing another episode of our Trail of Cthulhu game where Brian is the keeper and Naomi and I get to play, having a good time. And then a week from this Monday is just going to be me and Amy. We're playing a new game that's an ash can that I read and immediately said, I need to play this, and I need to play this with Amy. It's called Kiss Me If You Can, which is kind of a riff on Catch Me If You Can, where one of us is going to be an art thief and the other is going to be a government agent trying to catch that art thief, and things are going to get real complicated real fast. So like, subscribe, you'll learn when everything's next, and yada yada. Patreon, you know the whole thing. Can't wait to play with you guys again.
Y'all rock.
Cheers all.
Thanks.
Those are great.
Howdy friends, thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.